Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. It is, doing everything else. I didn't even check this. And according to my calculations, it is exactly 1 minute to 8 early. It is Thursday, 20th of July, 2017. The name of this video is What's Next? Because trying to keep up with what's going on in the Royal Imperial Majestic Banana Republic is starting to require staff. So, we are getting ready for the road. Putting the power of government in the hands of the people at constituency level is the solution to all the corruption in this country. Shutting down the special purpose companies and reinstituting a more robust and vigorous, transparent tender process is the solution to all the corruption in the country. The shutting down of all the unnecessary state boards is the solution to the corruption in the country. The shrinking of the cabinet to 9, maybe 11 ministers, we're working that out now, but that is a solution to the corruption in the country. Creating a Chancellor of the Exchequer, an office that is responsible for the actual payment of bills in a transparent and public manner, is a solution to the corruption that plagues the country. Selling off all unnecessary businesses. Government has no business being in business, and everything must go. But I won't say fire sale, but everything must go. We want a list of every single property, HDC house, everything we own. The only thing the state is keeping are things essential to the operation of the state. All the farmland will be vested in a marketing agency. That marketing agency will be given the responsibility to grow food, to be a function of the Ministry of Food Production and Agriculture. Here we're going to name it food production first, food self-sufficiency in 5 years, net food exporter in 10. That's our goals. Coming back to the first thing I mentioned, putting the power of government in the hands of the people at the constituency level. I want to tell you what that changes. You see, when a Minister of Works gets appointed, he could do what the hell he wants, like Rohan Sananan, Fitzgerald Hines for a heartbeat. We've had many ministers of works who's demonstrated the power of the purse to make overnight millionaires and billionaires, of people who at the start of a situation didn't have the ability to do some of the things that they've done, and it's state funds that made them into the massive organizations that they became. Tonight we're dealing with an issue of a company that 2 weeks prior to being given a contract to provide the sea bridge between Trinidad and Tobago didn't exist at all. Didn't exist at all. And that is total and complete madness. The Board of Supervisors that will run the constituency in Trinidad and Tobago under a progressive, empowering party government. I said empowering as opposed to empowerment. I want to use it as a verb. I want you to understand that we want to empower the people. And the Board of Supervisors, I want you to understand how that works. Because right now in your constituency, you have practically zero representation, especially if your member of parliament is also a minister or worse in opposition. Because in either situation, they have zero power, zero authority. All they do is go into parliament, sleep, kicks, bacchanal for a while, talk what the whip. The whip is the person on the side that tells them what to think and tells them what to say. It's all circus, it's all theater. We're going to undo that. I listen to our members, the Progressive Empowerment Party, because people, they want to attack and denigrate. And then our members come from all sides and answer questions to a level that shocks them. This is not no fly-by-night, one man, one party, This is an organization that will stand and pass muster. Wait and see. We're only 6-7 months old. Wait and see what's coming next. The party is building out at a clip. To quote our PRO, we're moving at warp speed. This Saturday is a very important meeting, and we're inviting everybody to come out at noon to get yourself in the loop. So it's going to be a big thing. If you're available, make the time. It's a good line too. I mean, we do a lot of serious stuff, but it's a good line too. And if you're bringing food to share, bring to share. the Board of Supervisors would have, because under a Progressive Empowerment Party government, no member of parliament would be a minister. We intend to bring legislation, laws that amends the Constitution, that separates the legislature from the executive. The executive is the working arm of the government. The legislature is where all of the constituency representatives sit together in front of the throne and deal with national issues, make law, and speak to issues that affect their constituents. But stick a pin in that. Come back to this issue. The Board of Supervisors, when you have a minister of works, he is making decisions for all of Trinidad and Tobago, all 41 constituencies. But our supervisor of public works in each constituency will be a mini minister of works. Within his or her constituency, they will have the responsibility for requesting funds and for dealing with the distribution of contracts within the constituency. We will write certain things into law that the only time you could shop outside of your constituency for contractors to do public works is if you have nobody with that skill set in your constituency. And we're going to err on the side of caution and make it possible for contractors to sue the supervisors, the Board of Supervisors, if they believe that they've been treated without respect. Because all the supervisors within a constituency are supposed to be able to submit their names at the start of a fiscal year and let the Board of Supervisors know their skill sets. If 2 years pass and you never get a contract, but you know Jim getting 7, feel free to come to central government. That's what central government is for. So we can come down to the Board of Supervisors and say, pal, how this man can't get no contracts, but Jim gets 7? Pack up your desk and go. Pack up your desk and go. Because that's not your job. Your job is not to enrich friends and family and financiers. Your job as the public works supervisor is to make sure the public works in your constituency gets done. But you have to also make sure that public funds, the wealth, is spread around the constituency so that all of the skilled workers in the constituency would have an opportunity to develop themselves and to earn a piece of the national pie, rather than 1 or 2 overnighters becoming billionaires, buying jets and Rolls Bentleys and all this craziness that has gone on under the PNM and the UNC. When you look through the lens of what a real progressive and empowering government will do, and you see what the PNM and the UNC have been doing, you will wonder if we've all been drunk or mad for 55 years to allow this to continue. On the Board of Supervisors, the supervisor of public utilities will be responsible for the function of your cable, your water, your internet. Well, I don't know about the internet because as of now, we are looking at how do we exactly do what we want to do, which is island-wide free broadband, start to finish. We want to, sorry to the internet providers, you will lose this as a business because we want to make it available free. The internet is the highway of development for the future, and we should not be charging a toll, as it were, especially the size of the toll that some of you are charging for using what is the public's airwaves. And this has bothered me for a long time because you're putting up some transmitters to use the public airwaves and blistering the public with charges. That's just been wrong. It's been wrong. And a Progressive Empowerment Party will make sure that broadband, internet, Wi-Fi free throughout the nation. Because we want our people to develop. We want our people to develop. Come back to this. The supervisor of public utilities will deal with water. He will identify the best, he or she will identify the best solution to the water management issues in your constituency, and together with the supervisor of works, identify ways and means to create holding ponds, dams, treatment areas, reservoirs, desalination plants for those that are on the coastline, and tap into wells to those who have access to the aquifer. We have a big aquifer in up by Johnson & Johnson there that one of the water companies using as is their water. I want to find out about that contract too, but I'm sticking a pin in that. There are a lot of things we want to fix, deal with, manage. We want to understand how this country has been treated like. You know this country's been treated like? This country's been treated like a trafficked sex slave. It's locked in a room and a certain handful of people doing it what they want. We come in to kick down the door. And we come in to lock up the people who had our country hostage. Stick up in that too. The supervisor of education has responsibility for all of the schools in that constituency. All of the schools in the constituency under the Progressive Empowerment Party would be 10-year schools. All of the schools would be community schools. All of the schools, we are abolishing the SEA. We're giving all the children a GPA. The supervisor of education has a responsibility to ensure that all schools operate at the same high standard. The GPA is a very important thing because that average will allow us to find all of the children underperforming and identify why. Because there are environmental reasons, there are physical reasons, there are home reasons. There are a lot of different reasons that would affect a child's ability to keep up with the rest of the class. And having a grade point average that is tested at the end of every term will tell us what's going on with the child. More importantly, it will give you a record of the performance of that child over the 10 years of the basic scholastic career. And you will know and be able to fine-tune where and what your child or this child needs. But more importantly, if there are 20 children in a class, the 20 of them together, their collective grade point average gives the teacher an average. And each of those classes in that school now have an average. So the principal operating that school gets to look at all of the classes under his or her purview and identify which teachers may not be doing the job or may be having difficulty doing the job and could go and deal and apply whatever resources are required to help that teacher deliver. But to the supervisor of education, all the school principals in the constituency have a grade point average. And the schools that are underperforming gets the most attention because the education supervisor has a responsibility to bring all schools up to the national average. That is his or her main job. Bring all schools, all classes, all students to the national average. Identify what is required to achieve that and do not deviate. It is the education supervisor's job to make sure that the schools are properly set up, properly functional, and properly run. And if you can't do the job, pack up your desk and go. The security supervisor, his job, her job, that person would be responsible for the safety and security of all the persons in the constituency. Working with the then National Guard, our plan is to convert what is our army and regiment or whatever it is into the Trinidad and Tobago National Guard. We need something to augment the Trinidad and Tobago police service in times of crisis, but that is all we really need. They would continue to train and train as they go, but we would make sure to increase and push forward things like engineering and even medical other types of intervention training so that they would be ready in times of crisis and emergency to respond. Yes, of course, there will be a defense unit in case Trinidad is invaded by Barbados. But predominantly, their job, most of our security issues are internal. Most of our security issues are internal. And that's what a National Guard is for. But the supervisor of security would have a responsibility to make sure that all of the police stations in that constituency are properly set up, properly manned, properly run. Because all police stations would have something called a precinct. And they would be responsible for a certain radius of properties and homes. And you would be able, as a supervisor of security, to tell which police station has, which precinct has the most difficulty, has the highest crime. We will be able to look on a map and know by constituency and know by community where we need to put the grease on the squeaky wheel. And that is where you put most of your attention. Because some constituencies, some communities, and some precincts will be sailing along swimmingly. Others will need a hand up. And that hand up doesn't necessarily mean you're running there with government boots and guns to lock up and lock down. Obviously, we will have issues to address. What is going on with the social fabric that is making crime high in this constituency? But this will be a nation that is completely secure, the borders closed, all of the containers coming through the ports will be unstuffed. I hear them talking about scanners, but miss me with that. We will start by a draconian measure. We will unstuff until the narcotics and gun traffickers start to miss Trinidad and Tobago. Find somewhere else. Find a next wall to jump. Find a next yard to run through. Leave Trinidad and Tobago alone. We will put up a maritime security wall that makes it impossible for you to smuggle into this country. We will unstuff every single container on the port. No more smuggling into the country. So the police service, the central authority, would be able to deal with violent crime, gang violence, and guns. And we will deal with that at a national level. But at the constituency level, we just touched on health, we just touched on education, public works, public utilities, security, and coming to health. The supervisor of health will be responsible for all the health centers and the satellite centers, because some constituencies are far-flung. Diego Martin Northeast, for example. Diego Martin Northeast starts by Bagatelle in Diego Martin, up by the top where Diego Martin West, where Diego Martin Main Road ends. It starts there, goes over Mount Coco Road, goes up on the North Coast. You can't say that you're going to put one dedicated health center in Diego Martin Northeast, because everybody will be far-flung and far from it. So you're going to need some satellite health centers that could deal with issues specific. Like if you're dealing here on the Blanchishes North Coast, you know you're going to be dealing with cuts and snake bite and stingray sting, and have scorpion. And you understand what I'm trying to tell you? There would be people who would have the information to tell you in this community, because actuarians do that. They tell you, if you're living here, the high chances of you dealing with issues, these are the issues that you will deal with. And we will make sure that the supervisor of health in the constituency will be responsible for, do you know that there is a life expectancy of persons? And we miss it as a country. We have some of the highest death rates due to preventable causes in the world. Our supervisor of health would have a responsibility to raise the life expectancy, to remove the morbidity levels, and to keep the people of the constituency safe and well. That is a constituency board of supervisors working for you. That is our plan. You never have to have a problem in your constituency that you have to come looking for central government. You have to leave Tobago West to come to Port of Spain to tell them that the drain by you need cleaning. You have a supervisor of public utilities and a supervisor of public works. The only time you have to bother yourself with central government is if them not doing their job. Because those are the key issues. And that frees central government up to deal with big issues. Like we want to do interventions in Morva, Beetham, Laventille, and Sealots, and all the other hotspots enterprise. We want to go in there, undo and redo. We want to deal with the judiciary and all that is going on with the administration of justice in this country. We want to undo and redo. We want to go into the laws of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, repeal what need to repeal, amend what need to amend, create what need to create, to make Trinidad and Tobago a functional first world 2017 nation. Yeah, that's where we need to go. That's what we need to be doing. That's what we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have to want. Because if you don't want that, we will end up crashing. This country is pretty much crashed. It's pretty much run aground. Check it out. Nothing works but the wrecker. The only thing working in Trinidad and Tobago is the wrecker. Tomorrow, I tell you this. Kid Rowley steal this idea. Tell the Coast Guard, half the value of everything you see is being smuggled, share it among the men. Half the value. I bet you no coke touch the floor, touch the ground in Trinidad again. Because our men and women of the Coast Guard could do the job. They could. But we've done to them what we've done to the administration of justice system, the court system. I've been told that we have, if we continue as we go in, it'll take us 400 years to clear the backlog in the court. Now, you have to say to yourself that that's madness, and it is. So why not put, I'm seeing that the government is trying to react. I'm seeing it trying to react. They're realizing the public not taking foolishness anymore. Nothing tracking. The Ministry of Communication have to be telling them that nobody taking us on. It's like they're waiting on us to fire us. They're not taking the government on. You realize that? Nobody taking the government on. Central government's job is to make sure home ownership. This country is a signatory to the United Nations Charter that says among the rights of a person, the right to a home. And the Progressive Empowerment Party has that as our first promise. The right to every citizen to a home. Every citizen. Every single citizen must be able to own a home. We will make it possible for you to build a home for $100,000 or less in this country. We will remove the cost of construction. We will lower the price of all construction materials. If the importers and manufacturers do not bring price down to their natural, what we expect the price to be, we will go into the construction material business. We will manufacture, import, and compete with them until they get sense that home and house important to this government. So you either treat the people with the respect. We will remove the taxes. We will remove the taxes. You remove the gouging, or we will drive you out of business. We will compete with you with the power of the treasury. We will buy at a level you could never buy. I don't care what company you think you is. Understand what the Progressive Empowerment Party is talking about is serious, serious change. We will make sure that the average person will be able to buy and own a home. A home for $100,000 as a starter home is a fair price in Trinidad and Tobago. And with a government secured loan. And if Republic, RBC, Scotia, and the rest don't want to give the loan, First Citizen Bank, Unit Trust, Mortgage Finance, all the credit unions, anybody who want to benefit from government business, come on board. All the private finance houses, come on board. A government secured loan, 0 interest, 0 deposit for 30 years. That will bring the price, the mortgage payment on $100,000 down to $400. That is the threshold to qualify. And at that threshold, a minimum wage earner will be able to buy a home. And the day every single person in this country gets the right to buy a home in the community of their choosing, not HTC ghetto complexes, not that madness that they've been doing to enrich party financiers, going and build madness, charging the state millions of dollars for foolishness. None of that, none of that, none of that. That's done. The Progressive Empowerment Party will not only shut down the HDC, we will remove any sign that it ever existed. We will sell all of the housing stock. We want a list of every house that exists. The first person getting an option to buy it is not the landlord-tenant arrangement, you know. Not at all. Because that's not supposed to exist. That is more criminality. And we will deal with that at this level. If you're living in it, come with evidence. Show us you're paying a rent. Even if you get a receipt written on brown paper bag, you will get first option to buy it with a state guaranteed loan. If you were paying it as a rent, you will pay it now as a mortgage. And it will be your home. And we will sell all. We will sell all. Every single HDC house will be sold to the people who are living in it, or sold as a lottery to those who want to buy it. Immediately, you will have a situation where communities start to develop. We have transient people. We live like nomads. Born in Woodbrook, grew up in Diego Martin, living in San Fernando. How is that sense? We need strong knitted communities where you go to school and you live and you grow up, and granny and grandpa and mommy and daddy. When you go to places like Barcelona, they have a market in Barcelona. When you go in that market to buy, the level of quality that you get is not because they're trying to give you quality, you know. It's when you talk to people, you realize that this person who running this stall took it over from his parents, who took it over from their parents. And you could go back 300 years. You're walking on the road that great grandpa went on with his sandals. Why we can't have a nation that respects our people enough to understand that every single thing in this country belongs to them, and put things in place so that they could benefit from it. But these governments, the PNM, these parties, the PNM and the UNC that have created kleptocracies as governments to come in there and steal with their nasty, disgusting finances. I want to tell you something, you know. I am not joking when I tell you we will audit every state expense for the past 55 years. I want to go and find every single example of theft. If you're dead and you left it for your inheritors, are coming for it there too. The people's money will go back in the people's treasury. And you will get an amnesty to come and write a check and drop it off to make us come and look for you. Because then we will have the added cost, because we will charge you the costs of coming to get the money from you. And to those who think that they have plenty well-heeled lawyers waiting, don't worry, you will spend it in the court. We have lawyers too. We have lawyers too. It's time Trinidad and Tobago was run as a nation where all of the people get treated with the same dignity, the same respect, the same rights, the same hope, the same opportunity. We want equality in this nation. This theftocracy, kleptocracy, banditocracy that has been the country for 55 years done. Vote the Progressive Empowerment Party into power. Vote us into office and the nation changes. And our first legislative agenda brings to the parliament recall, so that you can fire not only members of parliament, the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice, no Chief Justice in the future must ever be able to say what Iva Archie just said. Oh, they don't like me, but I'm not moving. That is insane. You, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, that's your office. The frock he wearing, you pay for that. The chair he's sitting in, you pay for that. The car that driving him around, you paying for that. All them tickets that he traveling the world, you paying for all of that. It's yours. And if the people don't like him, the people are supposed to be able to fire him. But not in the Royal Imperial Majestic Banana Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. But the day one after you vote a Progressive Empowerment Party government into office, there is no more Banana Republic. All public office holders understand from that day go forward, they serve the people of Vamus. Their job, if you are a public servant, is to serve the public. The description of your job is in the title. Public servant, serve the public. If you can't do that, clear your desk. If you cannot do it, clear your desk. And I don't care, you could have more degrees than a thermometer. You could have the Queen on speed dial. You and the Pope could eat hoagies in Rome. If you're not prepared to serve the people, clear your desk. Vamos. A Progressive Empowerment Party government will make sure that from the lowest to the highest, everybody in this country is treated with dignity and respect, courtesy, equality, equity. We will make sure justice and the rights of people in this country are respected from the top down and the bottom up. That's our plan. We're not coming into this for games. I tell people all the time, the mountain in front of us to get into government is joke compared to the mountain in front of us when we're in government. And we have plenty work to do. So you need to give us 41 seats. If you want it fixed. They have nothing. Trust me when I tell you. Listen to me carefully. Listen to these words. Think it through. No matter how much you think you're rabid, there is nothing the PNM or the UNC have to tell you that you need to hear. Our first legislative agenda would be recall, referendum, campaign finance reform, and a procurement regime that will prevent anybody from ever putting God out their thoughts, like the National Insurance Board. Let them be a national insurance. Let them be on the board if Progressive Empowerment Party come into office. Let them still be there. Let Siam still be holding the people's $41 million plus interest. at bank rate, at Republic bank rate. Let Siam, Tamnak, Tay, and Apsarado pay it back. Nobody else will ever put God out their thoughts and interfere with the people's money like that again. Ever. Ever. And I'm serious. Because as much as these people want to parade and pretend that they're all some kind of high class, all you are is a successful bandit. You've made off with the people's money. You've conned and corrupted and conspired to steal. You've used public office as a feeding frenzy. And you and your friends have taken advantage of the people's trust and made a mess of a nation. But we are coming to fix that. We're not coming to sit down in the parliament and play old talk with Tim Gopi Singh and Daryl Smith and Anil Roberts and Suraj Rambachan. We want a nation that works, and we want to deliver that in 5 years so that we could go away. Because we ain't looking for office for life either. Yeah? All of this is who we are. Honey and vinegar. Honey and vinegar. The unions will work with us or we'll go to war with the unions. And the unions get to decide. Our ambition is a nation first world status in 5 years. 5 years. A place where the United Nations and everybody else, the rest of the world, lie and say, I come from there, I have family there. That is our goal. We're not in this for office sake. And anybody who commit to join the PEP bandwagon for office sake, miss we with that, you know. Do not come near us if your goal is blue light-itis, you know, shiny pointy shoes. We is roll up sleeves. When I tell you how vexed Donald Trump come up with that thing, because you see that drain in the swamp, we have a lagoon to drain in this nation. Yeah? But this is one of the most beautiful nations in the world. I'm a headache, Randall.
Bouncing on the laughter of a melody. And does the rhythm tell you come, 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 come? Does your spirit do a dance to this symphony? Does it tell you that your heart is higher? Oh yeah. And does it tell you that your pain is higher? Oh yeah. Does it wash away all your unlovely? Well, are you ready for a brand new discovery? Calypso, Calypso, Calypso music, yeah, yeah. Calypso, 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 music. Singing, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. Singing, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. I say that I am the seed of the ground is tiger now. I got to sing, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. It is a living vibration, rooted deep within my Caribbean belly. Lyrics to make a politician cringe, or turn a woman's body into jelly.
That is too sweet a vibe to pull down, boy Philip. What you doing? That vibe's sweet too bad. But they have a conversation I need to have. I'm calling Suzette Lua. Suzette put some information in the
Hello.
public space. Hi Suzette, you live?
Hello, Philip. How are you?
So far so good. Suzette, I was now introducing you to the audience to let them know, those who may not have seen it, but I get it WhatsApp about 9 times. So I think it's fair to say that your original expose on what's going on the port has gone viral. So I am just calling you because I know you did an update today to bring the people of Trinidad and Tobago into some context as to what's going on with the sea bridge between Trinidad and Tobago.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people may have read the first post, which basically sought to clear up or at least ask questions, in the interim as to who the owners of the vessels were. It was a question that was raised by the opposition leader, which was then highlighted on social media, and I thought, all this time I guess like everybody else, thinking that the core matter that seemed to have been troubling the good people of Tobago was really the transportation issue. Not knowing that the delay for that transportation issue, or at least to rectify that issue, was really something far more insidious than the people were really understanding it to be. So I decided I was going to just take a look at this, ask a few questions, see what's going on. And, I was very alarmed with what I was able to uncover with, really just a few questions. And for those of you who may not have had the opportunity to read the original post, basically the Trinidad Express did an article on the Wednesday the 19th of July, which was yesterday, stating that they made attempts to contact this company called Bridgman's Services Group in Canada. And apparently, while the company's name is registered, the company itself is not registered with the Federal Registry of Canada, which is odd.
Just now, stop for a second. Explain that to me. Talk to me like I'm 4 years old. How is it possible for the name to be registered, the company not be registered, and it be trading as a company?
Well, Philip, to be honest with you, I'm not very familiar with the laws of registration for the Canadian, for Canada. But what I can tell you from my limited information, or what I was able to find out so far, was that in order to register a company, first of all, and I believe it works the same with the United States. I'm very familiar with the laws of incorporation in the United States, having had business there before. I imagine that it would work the same with Canada, where what you do is, and this can happen, I want people to know that you as an ordinary John Doe can apply for an incorporation of a company online. You have many, many sites where you can go on, and it costs as little as $49 a month. But besides that, if you are registering a company in the United States, which is probably similar to Canada, you are applying, first of all, for a name approval. Once you have a name approval, you can then go ahead and file your articles and so on of incorporation, etc. However, like Canada, I imagine, you would need to have at least a percentage. You must have at least 1 or 2 directors that are Canadians, and the others can be non-Canadian. But you must register the company, the directors, and the shareholders. That information must be on public record. It is not for this company. And, well, primarily what I gather is that the company may have been registered as a name. The name may have been approved and registered as a partnership, but it has not filed any sort of documentation stating who the owners are with the registry. So according to the Federal Registry of Canada, the company really does not exist.
Okay, but there is a version of that company registered in Trinidad.
Right, and that was registered on, I believe, the 15th or the 17th of July, which was like, somewhere during this week.
It was registered when?
As far as I remember, let me see if I can just get it was registered actually not too long ago. I think within a couple of weeks. I'll get the exact date for you in a minute. But this company that's registered in Trinidad, also, so far, the Express has not been able to obtain any information, which is odd, because that information is supposed to be publicly available.
So this is a flip-flop company, because, we're dealing with an issue of a sea bridge that the Minister of Transport and the Prime Minister himself, they said he's involved in, and they kicked the issue up to the Attorney General, who's supposed to be looking into it because it's an issue of national concern, and they're now forming companies.
Well, in all fairness, I will say and I encourage people to take a look at a 4-part series that was done by Mark Bassant. And what he is saying, the name of this series, and you can look it up, it's Gap in the Bridge. Now, it lists for you, and there are even examples of documentation where to this date, a senior investigative journalist like Mark Bassant cannot come to any sort of conclusion as to who the owners of this company is. and and whether or not they really own these vessels, the Canadian part of it, or whether it's owned by a separate entity, and that information has not been divulged. As far as I've seen in part 2, they contacted the Korean, I think it was, vendor of the vessels, and they were unwilling to release any information, saying that the vessel was sold, but that they conducted their part, they held their part of the bargain, but as far as they're concerned, that's all the information they were willing to give at that point in time. So it's still very unclear as to who the owners are, whether or not they're affiliated to any entity or person in Trinidad and Tobago, and whether or not the vessels belong to the said company or someone outside of the company.
So, and from what I deduce following the information you put in the public space, there is a Bridgman Services Canada, a Bridgman Services Panama, and a Bridgman Services Trinidad, yes?
Well, what I know about Panama is that the vessels were transferred to Bridgman's Trinidad Limited in Panama City. So I don't know exactly how that works, but what I can say is from what I have seen in terms of the information coming back from all of the reports from the experts and from Mark Bassan, is that to this date, nobody can say who the owners are and exactly where the vessels were transferred from and to whom, and where the vessels are in terms of cost price, in terms of the ownership, in terms of the previous owners and so on. All of the information that are available right now on Bridgman Services Group and Bridgman Trinidad is basically what you have read in the newspaper. There's nothing more to show any in-depth information. And what is odd, as a follow-up to that, I went on to post another article which was basically highlighting what was carried out in terms of the investigation with Mark Bassan. And TV6 attempted to contact the chairman of the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago, which is Alison Lewis, and she could not be reached. She has, however, come out and stated that she was never contacted by the TV6 or by Mark Bassan. So that's still up in the air there. Adrian Bihari, the deputy chairman of the Port Authority, was contacted, and he said that he couldn't shed any light on the subject as to whether or not there were any problems, and whether the vessel did, in fact, which is the Ocean Flower 2 we're talking about, whether or not the vessel was, in fact, experiencing any problems because of engine failure.
You've said TV6 obtained emails from the CEO of CJets between himself and chairman of the Port Authority, Alison Lewis. The company, CJets, offered its services by putting up for consideration their Terrajet. The offer was turned down by Mrs. Lewis on the 23rd of June. The company CJets is one of the world's largest ferry operators with astounding experience in the ferry industry, while Mr. Grange from Bridgman stated, "We are now getting our feet wet in the ferry service." Suzette, Suzette, what is going on here? Is this a subcontracting of the ferry service? Is this a flip-flop company that is hiding material beneficiaries that could be government ministers and party financiers, investors who are hijacking the sea bridge for their own profiteering? Could that be what is going on here?
Well, it's open for speculation because the government has not seen it fit to come out and, clarify the questions that have been raised by concerned citizens. They are basically operating in the same way that they've operated since they've been in government, which, unlike previous administrations, in that the people are not deserving of an answer. The people do not have the right to know how their money is being spent. I am a citizen of this country. I have started growing my own family in this country, and my reason for speaking out is not necessarily because I am politically aligned to any party. My reason for speaking out is because this country is going downhill, and we the people need to stand up, and we need to stand up to the government. We cannot be bullied, and once we continue to take what they are telling us, we are not going to get rid of the corruption. This is not something that has been happening now. You have, and I know of many instances where you have, and from a personal nature, in some instances where you have government, they know how to circumvent the system. It's a very easy thing to do, and if you have a paper trail and a shell company, you can set that up within days.
Susan, this is a country that was deliberately set up for bubble and corruption. It is easy to do bubble and corruption in the Royal Imperial Majestic Banana Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Right now I want to ask you, who do we address the freedom of information request to get the information on who are the directors of this company? To whom does that go? Because there is a list of people that have made a decision to hire and contract Bridgman, but all of them saying they have no information. So where did Bridgman come from?
First and foremost is, I mean, if we are to look at the way the government operates and if we are to speak their language, we should perhaps be going to Minister Rohan Sinanan.
But he seems to be the source of all of the untruths to begin with, and I'm sorry to say it that way. But when you find out that the Port Authority board was collapsed at 10 o'clock on a Monday evening so as to put a board in place that would do the minister's bidding, I believe the trail leads right back to him.
You know, this is, I mean, I agree with you 100%, Philip. The fact is, I mean, I am not savvy in political sciences and so on. I don't know how the political culture operates from a politician's point of view. But what I can tell you is that from an ordinary citizen's point of view, when I am being asked to pay property taxes, I'm being asked to pay more for gas, I'm being asked to fund a certain part of the gate education for my children that deserve the education that I'm paying taxes for, I have a problem with accepting those answers without any accountability. And the problem that we're seeing that is happening now has always been a problem that has been there. It is only now being highlighted because the privately owned media houses in this country previously could not highlight those issues. They were under mandate. With social media, yes, you have a certain amount of fake news being circulated on social media, but the people have a voice. And so no matter how bad your English may be or how well spoken you are, you have a medium to voice your concern. And this is basically what I think if we get together and we demand these answers from these politicians, they are going to have to treat us as their employers and no longer as their electors. I mean, because they don't have any respect for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. You are putting something out there that is a vague and ambiguous answer to a question that deals with blatant corruption with this. You know, Philip, it angers me so much to think that the people of Tobago have suffered I mean, I can't even imagine the amount of suffering that they have gone through just to get proper transport.
I have an attorney who was coming to a meeting, who went to Tobago for the weekend. She was due back for a meeting on Monday, could not get back here until Thursday because between the sea bridge and what went on with the ATR aircrafts, Tobago was effectively cut off. I do not know how people are managing. The cost of living in Tobago has gone through the roof. People are in dire straits. They've literally damaged the unitary state of Trinidad and Tobago. Tobagonians now should be feeling like second-class citizens.
And they would be rightly so in feeling that way, because they have been plunged basically 50 years backwards with being literally cut off from the mainland. And all because these people were allegedly secretly trying to find ways in which they can incorporate a company that would seem as a third-party independent entity who would be given the contract for the ferry service. And it is not fair. Because if you are asking me to make sacrifices as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, then I'm expecting that you are going to be transparent with me with the way that you spend the very few limited tax dollars we have available for the people of this country.
Suzette, I thank you very, very much for the work that you're doing. I want to encourage you to keep it up. You now have a supporter in me, and I look forward to us meeting and discussing further how we could all work together to make this country a better place. Thank you,
Philip, for giving me the opportunity to voice my concern, and I look forward to helping in any way that I can. I encourage the people of Trinidad and Tobago, every person, your opinion is important. Stand up and speak for yourself. We need to do this for our families.
Well said. Very well said. Thank you very much, my friend.
Good night, Philip. Good night, listeners.
Thank you for that. Yeah? You all heard that? You all heard that? That's what come in. That's why Keith and Kamala had to rush and meet. 1.3 million activist citizens come in. The people in Abi Pujad and Big Yard in Karanaj looking around at their conditions and saying, wait now. You mean I was entitled to better? They robbed me. They took advantage of me. The people in Tobago right now need to shake off the shackles of the THA that was sent there to enslave your body and your mind. That pittance that you're getting every month is not helping you. They're taking it back over the counter. You're losing it. You're just enslaved in your mind. You need to shake it off. You need to say, wait here. This is not how we want Tobago to run. Until Tobago was linked to Trinidad, there was a time Tobago was one of the proudest nations in the world. Tobago had the most expensive real estate on planet Earth at a time. The purest cocoa. Tobago is not a place to trifle with. The PNM has put a THA construct like a cancerous boil to suck the pride out of Tobago. We need to undo that. We need to undo and redo Tobago. The country needs to understand all of these constructs. The regional health authorities, the THA, the local government, the police precinct model that operated in this country all fail. All fail. All need to be abolished. Empower the constituencies. That's all this nation need. Tobago East and Tobago West. A free subsidized sea bridge because they deserve that. A price of Crick's biscuits in Tobago must be the same as a price of Crick's biscuit in Trinidad. That can't be different. 2x4 lumber, red bricks, cement, bottled water, whatever it is, medicine. Tobago, the price must be the exact same as Trinidad, or this is not a unitary state. We need to understand that. We need to fix these things. You can no longer turn a blind eye. The wolf is roaming. The nation has run aground. We are burning down. This nation needs all of its citizens now to come together and to stand together. What Suzette just told you, don't take it lightly. She did her bit. She put the information in the public space. You know yours too. Let us stop playing hide and seek. Let us stand up together and rescue this nation. We, 1.3 million people of us, could put the bandit clan on the run. We could vote these two parties into oblivion and start this country over.
Your vote will decide our destiny. Your vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can foretell our country's fate. But use it well before it's too late. If it is that who you're voting, fail the other doubt.
They fail.
When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is they prove it to be only full amount. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the time is now that change should come about. Just as how you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. If they can see, vote them out. State your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy.
Please share the video.
Vote them out with
Every one of you on the video now, please click share. Share it on your timeline. Share it in all the groups, all the pages that you're members of. Use the power of social media to transform your own lives. Share it. Share, share, share. Each one tell one. Saturday at noon we in Stanmore Avenue. Come out in your thousands. You have a country to save for your future self, for your elders, for your loved ones, for your children. For you when you get old and you're on that bed and you can't pee straight and the teeth in your mouth is not yours. We have a country to rescue. It cannot continue. This cannot continue. Share the video. Come out on Saturday.
If for 30 years you voting them in, and there's only tears as soon as they win. They give you big words and enslave your soul, promising you roads and giving potholes. If they are the reason why the economy goes sprout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out.
Get ready.
If it is the passing laws that them alone can flout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the building eyesores, east, west, north and south, they say where you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. Totally vote them out. State your finger and vote them out. Rescue the country, vote them out. Vote them out with them.
Young people have a saying, you know what time it is? You know what time it is? It is that time when you or one of your loved ones get in trouble and you turn to the officers of state that you think exist to serve you to find out that they don't. It will already be too late for you. When the wolf reach your door, blood flowing like water in the streets, the media don't even cover that anymore. Imagine if you were stranded in Tobago tonight.
Is a policy, bureaucracy, a catastrophe. If they cannot cope, and you see it so, then your only hope.
All bandits must go.
If it is fabrication, these statements that they spout, when you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is that frustration, does make you want to shout, when you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. Before they misuse out, deep out, sell out and digs out. If it you, vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out.
PNM and UNC, all the knocking pretenders, Keith and Kamala and the nonsense, the idiocy of what's taking place in that parliament, the non-functional, malfunctional, dysfunctional lack of governance. Vote them out. Get ready. The smart money is on 2018. That's what that meeting was for. They're panicking. The power structure behind the PNM and the UNC panicking. That fake meeting. That's what that was for. Get ready. Saturday, come to the meeting. We're building out the constituency executives. Don't just ask who running the party. You come and run the party. Don't tell us make sure you do it right. You come and do it right. You come. This is yours. We just laying the groundwork. All of it is yours.
People must come first. Citizens by right. None of you are worse. Yellow, black or white. Food, shelter and clothes. Free movement and speech. A garden that grows. And one love for each. If it is that injustice is what they always show. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is that avarice is all they seem to know. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is their politics, it's just a puppy show. When elections day come,
All bandits must go.
register and vote them out. If they don't see, say no finger and
Come Barrackpore next week Saturday. We chip into this song in Barrackpore. It's gonna be Juve in Barrackpore.
let's put our country together again. Put them out of power.
Terminate their reign. That's it.
Let's put our country.
End the bandit plan. Stranglehold on this country. Listen now. We telling you plain as day. It is impossible for you or your children to own a home unless you're in some kind of banditry or you inherit it. Look at what's going on around you. And if you are right now, if you did cross the hurdle and you're a homeowner and you're facing 20, 30 years of some bank mortgage, brace, you know. You ain't own a home yet, you know. The first half of that loan in this country, what I'm about to tell you may shock you. The first half of that loan, if it's a loan for 20 years, the first 10 years, all you pay is interest, you know. You borrow $3 million, 10 years down the road, you go to the bank to tell them, I want to settle. They say, you owe us $2,997,000. All that money you pay for the first 10 years is interest. You're paying twice the value of the house. That's what you're buying. You think you own it. And they're waiting, you know, they're cocked. They want you to pay the first 10 years so they get that interest and bust your throat. It's on the market for sale by mortgagee. All your junk in the road. So if you feel you cross the line and you own a house, if you have a mortgage, slow your roll, friend. Wait till you finish paying it off. Because right now, you don't own the house. The bank does. The Progressive Empowerment Party promises you up to $1.5 million, I think. If you Every first-time homeowner who wants to access a loan, 0 deposit, 0 interest for 30 years, up to $1 million. If you could pay the $4,000 a month to buy $1 million house, buy $1 million house. You're entitled as a citizen of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. That is not a handout. That is a hand up. That is a hand up. And that is what the Progressive Empowerment Party promises to do. Every citizen of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago will benefit. Not a handful of crooks, thieves, financiers, and a bandit clan. A power structure that stand up there gorging on the public purse, making fake companies, fake contracts. Look at what is going on. I told you all remember that Sunday morning months ago when we bust the issue with the superfast Galatian. I tell you all, don't turn your eye from this space. Rohan Sinanan is about to paint a masterpiece on the port. He is going to elevate his name alongside fellas like Calder Hart and Johnny O and Ish and Steve. Watch Rohan Sinanan there. Don't take short man with the sleepy eyes slides, you know. Watch him good. He is right now painting a masterpiece. Are waiting to find out. We're going to find out. If we have to call the FBI to tell us who owns those boats, we want to know who owns the boats. And then Keith Rowley will have questions to answer. And if he say, well, I didn't know, we will fire you because you're the prime minister. That means you're the highest minister and you're supposed to know. And if you don't know, fire yourself. Yes? This Saturday at noon, come out in your numbers. The meeting is for members and new members. Come and claim the party, make yourself at home. If you could, bring things to share. Fried chana and some nice little salt nuts. Because there's plenty of we. If you're don't bring 6 starch mango, it's cause bacchanal in the place. Next week, Saturday, we're in Barrackpore. I am being told that is going to be our biggest meeting to date. So come down Barrackpore and be part of that movement. Everybody on the south side of the island getting together. We go in Barrackpore. But I want to tell you this. I want to tell you this with love and respect. Forget me. Forget the PEP. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up where you are. And tell the PNM and the UNC, that's it. You run as an independent. Forget our party. Forget me. You run as an independent. Our mission is just to get rid of the bandit clan, the unseen hand, the power structure that is raping this country. We want them to go. You have to get rid of them by firing the PNM and the UNC. I said, when Mario Sabga Aboud said, we're powerful, he wasn't talking olive oil. He wasn't talking how much property he owned. He wasn't even talking about the 126 stores that made him the Starbucks of the Caribbean. He was talking about the control, the access they have to public office holders. And we must break that. That must come to an end. And the Progressive Empowerment Party pledges to you that every citizen of this country will have equal access to the corridors of state and not just a chosen few who consider themselves the 1% or the powerful. PEPTrinbago@gmail.com. If you have not yet sent your email, give them your email address, your telephone number, your constituency, your name, so they can keep you in the loop. I know they're working right now to get all of that organized. Come join the party, buy your jersey, every little bit helps. Yes, we need money. We will be forever begging. We're having a barbecue. Come and help with that. Buy some tickets even if you don't want to come and eat barbecue. It's being sponsored by one of the best restaurants in Trinidad, and I'm waiting for them to give me permission to use their name because I know they're trying to avoid the politics, but they're very much supportive of the movement. What else? In the housekeeping, what else we need to do? PEPTrinbago@gmail.com. The app. Download the app. Cindy, Maya, they're on the thread giving you information. The rest of the members, they're giving you plenty of information. You see in the members, look for the little PEP logo as their profile picture. Take it, use it as your own if you want. But look for them. David Ramjohn, Ali G, Dilworth, Dave Lux. Look for them to give you all the information you need. Felicia, Giselle, Lima, Karen. The team building out. And what you need to do is come to the office on Saturday and say, I am here. I'd like to serve. I'd like to be a part of the massive change, the tsunami of change sweeping across Trinidad and Tobago that will wash away all of these bandits that have been destroying this nation, for the past 55 years. Yes? Thank all of you who are with me tonight. See you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.